Hello everyone, welcome to another live video on gang stalking. In this one I'm going to be uncovering some of the secrets behind it that they don't want you to know. They don't want you to discover this. They don't want you to hear about it. But you are going to hear about it all in this video, because I am going to be uncovering all of the secrets of gang stalking that they don't want you to know. And yeah, by the end of this video, you're going to know it all. You're going to know exactly what is going on. You're going to be better equipped to deal with it, to protect yourself and your families. And it's only going to make you stronger, more wiser, more confident. This video is here to help you, to raise your spirits, to equip you with the knowledge that you need to survive gang stalking. Because let's keep it real, I mean, many people, if not most, do not survive gang stalking. Many of them end up going crazy. They end up in mental institutions, homeless, committing suicide, or in extreme cases, someone may even take their life. All of these things can happen to targeted individuals. But unfortunately, thanks to this information that is being uploaded online, we are now better equipped to deal with these psychological and sometimes physical attacks. We are now better equipped to deal with that. And yeah, that's what I aim to do in this video, by uncovering these secrets to you that they do not want you to know. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into the meat of this video. And yeah, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get this out there to other survivors of gang stalking, other targeted individuals. And now, yeah, let's get into it. So they don't want you to know that it is a covert psychological operation to break you down. They are trying to brainwash you, change the way that you think of yourself, and often change the way that you think of other people, especially if they can't get to them, if they can't brainwash those other people. Then they're going to try and brainwash you. They're going to try and turn you against them. They'll turn you against your own family, your own friends. They'll try and isolate you. They'll do anything they can to keep you stuck, because your freedom is their worst nightmare. They want to keep you under their control. So another secret that they don't want you to know is that you're not imagining it. The patterns that you are seeing are real. But as long as you're second guessing yourself, it keeps them in control of your mind and of how you think. You must fully accept it. You must recognize that, yes, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, all of this is real. It's actually happening. You are really going through it. they are actually doing these things to you. Because here is the big secret about it all. And this has to be the #1 secret, which when you understand this, it will break the spell of the gangstalking. How they get you, how they control your mind, how they brainwash you, how they make you say or do things that you wouldn't normally say or do, how they make you conflict with your own beliefs, your own values, how they keep you on edge. This all stems from one thing: dissonance. They control you through dissonance. Dissonance is two conflicting beliefs that you hold in your mind. So you're unsure about it. It's open-ended. You don't know. Is this real or is this not real? Is this actually happening? Do they really hold ill intentions? Are they really evil? It's like you don't know, you can't figure it out, and your brain wants to know, you want to understand it. This is what creates confusion. It creates a puzzle that you cannot solve. It's like you can't find the missing pieces. You can't fully grasp, comprehend it. And this is the #1 secret behind the gangstalking operations. Because yes, they know this, they utilize it. They know that this is the #1 way to control a person's mind, is to use dissonance, is to not give them the answers, is to confuse them, is to leave things open-ended, so that you remain asleep and you never wake up. And that's why I'm giving you the answers. I'm revealing the secrets in this video, because I want you all to wake up from this nightmare. Yes, it is real. Yes, everything you're seeing, everything you're hearing, it is all real. This is actually what you're going through. This is actually what is being done to you. At the moment that you realize it, you accept it, it cuts the cord. It breaks the spell. They cannot control you anymore once you know, once you got it fully figured out. And this is why they always leave you questioning everything. Just think about it, everything you've gone through, everything you've been thinking. Since you have gone through the gangstalking, you're less confident now. You're very unsure about yourself. It's like it's opened up all of these insecurities. So many things that you don't know. You don't know what's real, what's false, what's true, what's not. You don't know any of these things. And you're still just trying to figure it out. You're trying to understand it. And that's what they play on. They take away your own self-control, leaving you feeling insecure. That is how they get you. So how you win, how you defeat the gangstalkers, is to be confident, self-validated. And of course, that's easier said than done when they're bombarding you 24 hours a day and leaving you feeling insecure, questioning yourself, breaking apart everything that you've tried to build. But this is what will save you, is when you do validate yourself. Or at least you have other sources of influence that you trust, that you can confide in, that are not going to be biased towards the gangstalkers. You have to recognize that they are the opposition. They are your enemies. You do not need any answers from them. They are not on your side. Their mission is to destroy you. And our mission is not to destroy them. Our mission is to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves out of danger. And unfortunately, many of us who are stuck in these situations, it's like we are the only ones who can do that for ourselves. Well, these gang stalkers, they have a lot of support. There's a lot of people on their side. A lot of people are brainwashed. A lot of people are insecure themselves. And that's another secret they don't want you to know, is that the gang stalkers are extremely insecure. That's how they're susceptible to the motivation. That's how they're being controlled, because they are also seeking answers. They also don't understand everything. They're also at a very low level of consciousness, as we were when we didn't have the answers ourselves. Because that's what happens when they gang stalk you. They keep you down at a low level of awareness. You're not aware of what's going on. And it's because they are stuck in that same state themselves. They're trying to keep you down at their level. They have a very low level of understanding things, intellect, emotional intelligence. It's all very primitive. And of course it would be for them to be a part of a gang stalking network. No one with any high intel is going to be a part of that. No one with any emotional intelligence. So they suck you into that, and it makes it very difficult for you to understand things, to see what's really going on, to see beneath the veil. It creates a lot of confusion, because a problem cannot be solved at the same level of vibration or consciousness that it was created. You have to raise your vibration first before you can fully understand it. And these gang stalkers, they are stuck. They are trapped in this cycle where they fail to understand anything. And it's because they're at such a low level of consciousness, of awareness, which really limits their cognitive ability. And it's how they're also able to impair yours, just by pulling you down to the level that they are at. But yeah, the big secret behind all of this is the dissonance. That's how they control your mind. That's how they get you to do what they want you to do. That's how they keep you in a state of confusion, is with the two conflicted beliefs. But once you become aware of it, you break the spell. And not only that, but they're experiencing dissonance as well, surrounding who you are. They don't fully understand you, and that's why they fight. Because they're fighting for their narrative, and they see that you are presenting a different, an opposing narrative to them. That you're not the type of person that they're trying to make you out to be. And this is why they constantly push or provoke you. They bait you for reactions to try and confirm their distorted narrative. Because they are also struggling with dissonance, and they want it to be you, not them. So they're constantly just trying to avoid having to reflect on the fact that they are absolute monsters. That's really what this is. And that's why they're constantly pushing, fighting. so that they can try and see you differently, because they can't accept who you are, the real person that you are, your true personality. It makes them feel bad about themselves. It makes them feel like horrible people. So this is why they're constantly trying to project this onto you. They're constantly baiting you, provoking you, because they want to put this poison in you. They don't want to accept that it is a part of themselves. Give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful so far. I have many more secrets to share with you. So you are chosen as a target because you're outspoken or non-compliant. You're not following the status quo. You're doing things on your own terms. You're questioning everything. And they don't like that. They want someone to just be a sheep, to just go along with what they say. And not only that, but it's possible, and I'm not saying this for anyone, I'm not diagnosing anyone, I'm not a doctor, but from my personal experience and research, I would say it's possible that you may have some mild autistic or schizophrenic traits, or you may be highly sensitive, highly empathic, compassionate. You're reactive, because that's why they picked you. They're looking for reactions. They're looking for attention, validation, admiration, chaos, confusion, conflict. So of course, they've got to pick someone who's reactive, someone who's going to be aware of it and react to it. Typically, it's going to be someone who has experienced significant distress or abuse in their childhood. Someone who may have unresolved childhood wounds, which may have made you unsure of yourself, or you may have been conditioned to be a codependent, a people pleaser. That makes you an excellent target for gang stalkers. And that is quite possibly why they picked you out, because you have this awareness. You're aware of other people. You may be a people pleaser, so it's like when they want you to act, you act. You notice them. You can see the signs. And not only that, but you may have a strong sense of self, a positive quality. But even then, I mean, being highly sensitive, that could be a positive quality too. It just depends on who you're around. But definitely a strong sense of self, that's a positive quality. So after abuse that you may have experienced in childhood, you want to have boundaries. You want to have separation. You want to know what's yours and what's not yours, what's theirs and what's not theirs. You want it to be distinct. And that's healthy. But these people are very toxic. And they're very insecure. Deep down they feel inadequate. They're not happy with themselves. So they want to cross over your boundaries. They don't want separation. They want enmeshment. And so that's what makes you a good target for them, because they see it as a challenge. And it's exciting for them. It's a thrill, because they know you don't want to give it up. You don't want to enmesh with them. You like yourself. You like who you are. You don't want to become a part of them, and you don't want them to become a part of you. And they know that. They recognize that, yeah, you may have experienced some childhood abuse, And maybe now your boundaries are quite rigid. You don't like people getting too close. And they get a kick out of it. Out of getting close to you or other abuse survivors. They get a real thrill out of doing that. It's kind of like if you have a wound and they just enjoy poking at it. As they may have done to many of you. They scanned you for emotional wounds and then they just kept poking at it to irritate you. This is what they like to do. They just love to wind people up. And they're looking for someone who's going to be open to it, receptive. But not only that, and this also ties in with child abuse survivors, someone who may not have anyone close to them. They may not have much support. They may not have supportive parents. Because typically, I mean, if you were a survivor of childhood abuse or neglect, your parents, your family, they're unlikely to be supportive. If they were supportive, then the abuse may never have taken place. So this may be something that many of you can relate to, is that you experienced abuse in childhood and you may have developed schizophrenic, autistic traits, possibly dyslexia, some form of disability, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for someone who has some form of wound that they can exploit. And not only that, someone who doesn't have much support. Essentially, it's the same thing as how a paedophile picks out their target. They're looking for someone with some sort of wound, someone with some sort of need, who doesn't have much support. And that's their target. Because they know that's someone that they can control. That's someone that they can exploit. And for those of you who are just figuring this out now, I know it can be quite a painful thing to have to accept. But potentially, yeah, you know, this goes back to our childhood. It goes back to our families. The abuse that we experienced, the lack of support, which then made us targets for these predators. And we can see this with children in school. Children who were abused at home. Well, some of them become victims. Others may become narcissists, bullies themselves. And this then goes on to the workplace. And then it spreads in communities. So these people are all running off childhood programming. And many of you may be too. You may still be in that state of being the victim, as you were when you were a child, in your family, with your parents. And they can sense that. They can sniff it out. They know that you have these wounds. They know that you have suffered some kind of trauma, abuse, neglect in childhood. And they took a different path. They may have been abused themselves. They likely were abused or neglected in their childhood. But for them to find their sense of safety, they didn't just run off and spend time by themselves and create rigid boundaries and not let anyone in. They did the opposite. They opened themselves up. They wanted enmeshment. They wanted to be around lots of people. And they were willing to fight, to harass people, to develop that sense of belonging, to find that sense of safety and support within the group. So this is how this happens. It all goes back to childhood. It developed from there. for us and for the gang stalkers. And they act this way because they do not want to confront their own childhood wounds. They're trying to avoid reflecting, no matter what the cost. They do not want to deal with their shame, their feelings of inadequacy, as a result of what they experienced in childhood. And so they seek out targets together to make themselves feel better. But this is the thing, I mean, even if you try to heal, after recognizing your wounds, they're going to be very uncomfortable with that. And they're going to keep trying to pull you back into it because it's the only thing they know. They don't know how else to be. They don't know how else to live. They have to live in fantasy, and they need someone to sustain that for them. They have to have someone to pick on. And I can guarantee if it isn't you, it's going to be someone else. They will always have someone who they oppose, who they target, who they single out for ill treatment. And it's because they just do not accept themselves. They don't like themselves. Well, as for us, the targets, we were strong. We were strong enough to overcome it. We may not be fully healed, but we accepted it. And then we moved on. So these are the dynamics behind it. This is what is happening. They are running off of childhood programming. They're not really awake or aware. And this is how they lack empathy. It's like you don't feel any connection there. It's like they're there, they're physically present, but mentally, it's like there's no one really there because they're in fantasy. And they're fighting to stay in the fantasy because reality is too painful for them. Reality is that they just weren't good enough. They weren't deserving of good treatments. That's the narrative underneath it all. And so they're fighting against that. They're fighting against this inner critic, this inner dialogue. And it's like, no, I'm not worthless. I'm not worthy of abuse. I deserve better. I deserve more. And then it's such a fight that it goes to the other extreme. And it's like, I am powerful. I am superior. And then they demonstrate it by stalking and harassing you. That's what they do. And most often they pick you out because you're an easy target. You're an easy target because you've experienced some kind of childhood abuse or neglect in childhood. And no one ever admitted it or owned up to it. So you already have some dissonance there. Because no one validated that experience for a start. So you lack the support. And not only that, but you're also resilient. Because you survived it. And not only did you survive it, you survived it on your own. Without any support. So at the same time, you're strong. And of course, that's what they want. They want something that's going to last. They want something that's going to be sustainable. And that's why they hold on to you. Because if that was not true, if you were not strong, resilient, if you were not something sustainable, then how aren't you like one of the other targets who maybe went out and shot up a mall, or tried to take your own life, became homeless, or went crazy and ended up in a mental institution? How come these things didn't happen to you? And how long have you been gang stalked? And you think about one of these gang stalkers being in your shoes, how long would they last? Would they last 1 day, 1 week? Probably not 1 year. And so this all just confirms that yes, you are strong, you are resilient. You overcome things on your own. You are a natural born leader, which they see as a threat because they want control. And yeah, that's why they target you, because you're outspoken. You're not complying to them. Give this video a thumbs up if it's been helpful to you so far. I have more secrets to reveal. They are using technology to monitor, track, and manipulate you. They are able to tap into your devices, your phone, your laptop. They can see your search history, your browser history. They can track you through GPS. They know your exact coordinates. And that's how they're able to do the street theater, because they know exactly where you are in any moment. And even if somehow there was a problem with the GPS, they can see you through the camera on your devices. They can listen to you through the microphone. And they can already know where you're going to be, because they can also read your messages, your emails. And if you type in a location of somewhere you're going to go. So they've already got full control. They already know exactly where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing. And they want to keep you isolated. They want to be your sole source of influence, because that's what gives them power. So yeah, they're using your devices to monitor, track, and manipulate you. And it's very helpful for their street theater as well, because whatever you're doing on your phone, on your laptop, doesn't matter what it is, they are also, what they do is they use an app on their devices where they're able to tap into yours, and they're able to see your search history, your browser history, just things that you're doing on your devices, wherever you're doing. Maybe you're doing work, maybe you're listening to music. They can tap into all of these things. And like as an example, if you're watching a video or you're listening to a song, they may spend time doing other things, but they can skip it. And also other gang stalkers, they're able to share notes in the app. So they give each other summaries so that they can stay on top of it. And that's how it seems like they always know what's going on. They're always in the know. It's because they share a summary, and it also pops up, it activates, it gives them an alert when you are within a certain radius of them, or when you're headed in their direction. So they're alerted about it. And it seems like they're almost like psychic, because you don't understand how this is operated behind the scenes. And it's really not that advanced. But essentially it's like remote monitoring, and I can't remember the name for it, but it's kind of like, you know, like one of those cameras that just activates when you walk into a room. Motion detection, that's it. So many of these operations, they are conducted even without AI. It's all just automated. It's all just code, it's programming. So it's quite simplistic. It's quite basic equipment. It really isn't that advanced for many of you. For others, it may be. But yeah, they even use strangers. They weaponize strangers against you through subtle influence. So people you don't even know, people who don't even really know you, but they receive an alert on their devices. Or if you're in a remote area and people aren't really using technology there, they can hear about you through word of mouth. And they will be alerted because, you know, what's like the number one fear of a gang stalker? Of course, it's being exposed. So you're never gonna get to a gang stalker. Unlikely anyway. I mean, it's a possibility. It could happen. Never say never. But the odds are it's not gonna happen. That you're gonna get somewhere, and you know, before the gang stalkers get to them, before the gang stalkers alert them, or before they receive an alert, in most situations, that's highly unlikely. I mean, essentially, you are really just like, how do I even describe it? It's kind of like if you're playing a video game and you're navigating through the game, and maybe you're in a car, you can go very fast, but no matter how fast you go, the map is going to load up in time. You're not going to be able to go off of the map. You're never going to be fast enough. So it's kind of like that. It's highly unlikely that you're ever going to get to a place before the gang stalkers become aware of it, because typically they plan it out in advance. So these strangers will always be weaponized against you. Of course, you're going to see some people who are more invested than others, depending on their personality, depending on if they have a disorder. The ones that you see who are really active and really enjoying it, they're narcissistic. They may be malignant narcissists, they may be sociopaths. Unlikely to be psychopaths, as psychopaths are not going to get involved typically in gang stalking. They're going to be the ones who are running it. So what are they doing this for? What is their goal? Their goal is to isolate, discredit, and destabilize you. So they want to leave you without any supports, without anyone who you can turn to, without anyone who will comfort you, without anyone to give you the answers. They don't want you to have anyone. That's their goal. They want to be your only source of influence so that they can run you into the ground. They can confuse you. destabilize you, discredit you, make you out to be a liar. Just make everyone think that you're a horrible person. That's really their goal. It's all biased, it's all propaganda. And it's because you are likely a threat to them. You are likely exposing them in some sort of way. So they want to leave you feeling like you're losing your minds. They want to leave you questioning your own sanity, thinking that you're going insane. Because these people themselves, they are suffering. And yeah, they're going through it. You know, they're never going to be happy. They're never going to be at peace. They're never going to feel free. And anytime that they see you happy, anytime that they see you at peace, it becomes a reminder to them of that, of how it's never going to be like that for them. And so they just feel the need to lash out, to control you. They don't want you to have any peace in your life. Because they have trauma, they are unhealed. Listen, if they were happy, if they were at peace themselves, they would want the same thing for you. They would let things go, they wouldn't hold a grudge. They do because they never learn, they never grow. How could they when they never take any responsibility? When instead they just want to trap you in a maze, in a cage, and just leave you there. Does that sound like someone who is making any consistent progress? Of course not. These are people who are deeply traumatized. They want to keep you trapped in the cycle because they're trapped in it themselves. Misery loves company. And they will never move on. They will never get over it. And this is why they're so resentful, they're passive aggressive. They hide in plain sight and act like nothing's happening. And sometimes it just gets completely ridiculous. I mean, they will do things sometimes in front of everyone in broad daylight and leave you thinking that nothing happened or that nothing needs to be done about it. This is how you can tell that they're getting too comfortable. Many of them are becoming psychotic because they're bringing a fantasy into the real world. It becomes a shared fantasy. And there's just no boundaries, there's no separation. And they just see you as an object to be used for their own enjoyment. Complete lack of empathy, compassion, understanding, awareness. They're like animals. And that's really what they can be likened to is they're no different than to an animal that you might find in the wild. I mean, the only difference is that they know how to pretend to be like and look like a human. And that's all that it is. But other than that, it's really just a wild animal. And you got to think about it like this, right? We were all, to some extent, wild animals ourselves. Our ancestors were. We didn't used to live in societies, communities. We used to be like wild animals with spears. Or that even before that, even before we had tools, we were climbing trees. And gradually we evolved, we built cities, we lived together in communities. But you really think that everyone evolved together to where they could assimilate in society and respect each other? Of course not. These animals are still amongst us. Predators. They're everywhere. And they have no self-control, no discipline. They leave us walking on eggshells around them. And yeah, this is it. This is what gang stalkers are. They're wild animals. They're people who never fully evolved. And that's why they prey on you. They stalk you. Just like animals do. But yeah, you know what really makes this operation thrive? It's your silence and self-doubt. You not speaking out, you just going along with it. You doubting yourself. This is what helps it to function very well. When you don't show any resistance, you must resist. You must oppose it. You must fight for you. Because no one else is going to fight for you. They're just going to walk all over you. So you have to be rigid. You have to be strong. Because, you know, like I said, a lot of people in this world, they're still like animals who never evolved. And it's just like a flock of sheep. It's like they haven't grown into their own person, into their own identity. It's like monkey see, monkey do. And that's literally what it's like. You know, the monkey sees something, sees another monkey doing something, then that monkey's got to do it as well. Exactly what we see with gang stalkers. The only thing is, we're not monkeys. And that's why we're not happy about it. They're happy about it. They're quite comfortable with it. Because they're animals. They're monkeys. We're not. We're human. Humans are not meant to be kept in cages. Humans are meant to be treated with decency and respect. And yeah, they recognize your humanity. That's how they knew that you were not going to be happy about it. That's how they knew that you were not going to be comfortable with it. If this message is vibing with you so far, give it a thumbs up. Let's work together to get this out there to other targeted individuals of gang stalking. But yeah, you know, it thrives on your lack of resistance. Talking about it is your greatest act of resistance. You must talk about it. This is what helps to keep you out of the dissonance. It's by you talking about it, writing things down, reminding yourself of the truth, reality, the facts. Because you're not going to get any facts from them. They live in fantasy. They don't like reality. And what did they do in their childhood? Let's go back to it. They were bullied by their parents, they were neglected, abused, they experienced trauma. And their sense of safety and belonging came from banding together with other kids in school to bully one of the other children. That's what it was. That was their coping strategy. That's what made them feel better. And so essentially what we're seeing now with gang stalkers, they're all just a bunch of children who never grew up. And they're doing the exact same thing that they probably did to children when they were in school. Nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is now they look like adults. The behaviors remain the same. And maybe the tactics are a bit more sophisticated. Because of course, once you become an adult, typically your brain is more developed. So the tactics can be a little bit more advanced. But essentially, that's how you got to look at it. Is, even when you see a gang stalker and, maybe they're driving a red car, it's just a toy. It's just a child who, you imagine like in school, like maybe if you were attacked by a child with a red t-shirt, and then maybe one of the other children the next day, maybe they had like a red toy car, and then they could see because of the trauma response, you notice the red. You could see, this red car's triggering you, and then it just chases after you, just puts it in your face. You see, it's no different. It's no different. They're still just like kids. And you're not happy about it because you're a grown adult. And you're just around a bunch of immature, pathetic children who could never grow up because they never wanted to confront their traumas. And so they band together with just other random people because it makes them feel more secure, it makes them feel a bit better. But it's all fake, it's all fantasy. They're never going to grow up. But as for you, you're going through this because you're strong, because you're resilient. It's only going to build your character. That's all that's going to do. And sometimes you may feel like you're living in a bubble. You may feel like you're separated from the real world. I've heard that a few times. Actually, no, you're not. This world, I've experienced it enough to know that what you see on the outside, it's more fake than anything else. What you're dealing with, what you're going through, that's real. What you've got is real life. I mean, especially with all of these predators around you, it's like survival. That's what real living is like. That's what it was like for our ancestors. And that's how in time you become a warrior. Because I was going to swear, but I'm not going to say it. But these people, they live in a bubble themselves. They live in an illusion. They're like living behind four padded walls. And this is how they resort to covert tactics, because they're so weak and pathetic. While you've been built up as a warrior, just like your ancestors, constantly being in fight or flight, in survival mode. That's what built them up. And that's what you're going through. Meanwhile, everything that you see in the outside world, it's all fake. It's all BS. It's all absolute nonsense. It's all just fake, superficial, There's nothing of any real depth. There's no loyalty, no commitment for anyone. So essentially, you're being protected from all of that. I know many of you may feel like you want your freedom, but honestly, who knows what you would have gone through. If you were out in the world just like they are, I mean, some of the horrible things that can happen to you, I mean, you could be stuck with a husband, a wife, children. Or they could end up being a nightmare for you to deal with. Living in the same home every day. I mean, you think, what motivates them to be this way? Because that's exactly what they're going through. You think they're happy with their families, their jobs, what they got going on in their lives? If they were happy with any of that, they wouldn't be harassing you. But this is what they do. Because, you know, you're looking at the other side thinking that it's better to be a gang stalker. It really isn't. It's worse. And that's what motivates them to do this stuff. You are far better off. I mean, you're not even really in a bubble. I mean, a lot of what you're seeing from the gang stalking, this is real life. This is what people are like. People are really like this. Sometimes worse. They're worse to their own significant other, to their own children. But if you are in a bubble, it's a bubble that really just protects you from all of this nonsense. Honestly, you're better off. Perhaps this is why, you know, Buddhist monks, they want nothing to do with society. They just meditate in the mountains. And honestly, that's where you're going to find peace. That's where you're going to find bliss. The real world exists in your mind. Use it. Read books. Study, journal. Explore your creativity. Explore the arts. Gain knowledge, experience, wisdom. This is what it's about. And this is what our ancestors have been doing since the beginning of time. And this is what builds you. This is what built me. And you know, it's the funny thing, I look back. And I'm not saying gang stalking is a good thing. I'm definitely not promoting it. I am against it. But in all honesty, I mean, before I was gang stalked, I had no job, no money. I had nothing really going on. I was dating just some loser, narcissistic girls who clearly didn't really care about me or respect me. They were quite pretty, but they were always going out to clubs and meeting other boys. They just caused me so much stress and anxiety. And then fast forward, after I go through the gang stalking, then I built this YouTube channel, almost 200,000 subscribers. I've been traveling the world for 5 years, driving all sorts of cars and just exploring all different countries with my cat. And I look back and I think, well, hold on, if I wasn't gang stalked, what would I be doing? I'd probably be living in the same apartment in the same city all of this time, just not doing anything. I'd probably still be there. And not only that, I'd probably be happy with it. I wouldn't desire for anything more. So in many ways, the gang stalking changed my life for the better. I mean, yeah, I kind of suffered mentally, psychologically, but it built me up. It's made me much more stronger, wiser, sharper. Now I've become a warrior. And I've had so many experiences. So it's actually given me a fuller experience of life. But again, you know, I'm not promoting gang stalking. I mean, really, I should take back my power and say, no, I did that. My strength, my resilience. That's what created it. It's just back then, before the gang stalking, I had nothing to fight for. I had no reason to fight. It was just, I could just relax and be comfortable. And, you know, that's just it, being comfortable, being relaxed. It's not going to lead to anything substantial. And you're not going to find any fulfillment from it. Even if you lived in a palace with everything you could ever want, you would eventually get bored of it. You would get bored of the comfort, the security. Even the Buddha did. He was meant to have been a prince living in a palace. And he left to help the people outside. So this is what happens, you know, it gets boring. And maybe this is why, you know, such people in powerful positions, celebrities, royalty, they do such wicked things because they're bored. So, essentially what I'm trying to say is you're not missing anything. And this gang stalking, you can utilize it to your advantage, as I did. Because I've had so many memories. I mean, I've traveled the world. I made so much money from this YouTube channel, coaching people, donations. Eventually it was sabotage, but I made the most of it. I traveled the world, saw so many different countries. I met tons of girls. Things that I probably never would have done. And I've done it, you know, I say thanks to the gang stalking, but it's like, you know, it motivated me. I used it to my advantage. And maybe you can too. You just have to master it. You have to know how to work it. Because that's what I've been doing. But essentially, you have to gang stalk the gang stalkers. You have to get into their minds, and it's actually easier than you think, because they're already on that wavelength, so you can get in their heads too. But really, the best thing to do is just to keep to yourself. And, you know, if it's causing you psychological distress, make an exit plan, get out of there. Live off the grid, live off the land, live on a farm. It will be much more peaceful. But in time, you know, you might get bored of that. Things do get boring after a certain amount of time. And that's why it's good to just keep moving. But yeah, you know, I made something out of it. I used the gang stalking to my advantage. And few people have ever done that, especially to the extent that I have. There's very few people on YouTube with the amount of subscribers that I have who can get on a live video and talk about this. Very few people can do it, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it seems that YouTube does recommend this. They promote my gang stalking videos more than anything else. So I will keep going with it. I will keep talking about it. For whatever reason, YouTube clearly wants this information out there, so why would I stop? But yeah, I myself, I gotta say, I'm definitely very happy with how things turned out. I mean, there were a lot of ups and downs going through this gangstalking thing, but, considering that at one point I was just stuck in an apartment, just playing on my Xbox every day, drinking a few cans of beer. And I go from that to traveling the world, going to all different countries, living a luxurious life. I never imagined that things would turn out that way. So, I've really made the most of it. And, I'm just along for the ride. I'm just along for an adventure. I was never expecting too much out of it. I was grateful just any little thing I receive. And I never could have imagined that things would turn out this well, where I've got like almost 200,000 subscribers. The experiences that I've had. So, yeah. I'm not really in a position to complain too much, and I think, actually that's probably your greatest weapon against them. That's probably your biggest offense. That's probably what irks them more than anything, is your gratitude. If you can be grateful despite everything they've done to you, if you can still just hold on to that gratitude for something, no matter how small, that will get you through. And that will irritate them more than anything. That is your ultimate revenge against them. Because they're never going to be grateful for anything, clearly. That's why they harass you. And isn't that all that really matters in life? Is that, despite what you have, are you happy with it? Are you grateful for it? That's all that really matters in this life. And I could honestly say that with my experiences, everything that I've had, I look back, I look at the photos on my phone, I think about the memories that I've had, and yeah, I'm very grateful, because I never thought that things would have turned out this way. I was stuck for such a long time. And for several years, I was depressed. I was really going through it. So yeah, the message I'd like to finish with is to try to be grateful about something. And I know it's difficult with what you may be going through, but there's always something. No matter how small it is, focus on your gratitude. And pray to God and just be thankful for what He has given you. Even if it's just something simple, just be thankful that you have 2 eyes. You have all of your limbs. And, it's the law of attraction. If you're grateful for what you already have, the universe is going to give you more. So, that's my message for you. And I hope that it works out in the way that you want it to. Like whatever it is that you need, I hope it comes to you. And, I just hope this message brings you fulfillment. I hope it's validated your experience. I hope it helps you to know what to do next. But yeah, that's my message, is for you to focus on gratitude, even in small things. And be aware of the dissonance, the two conflicting beliefs. Be aware that, yes, this is real. This is really happening. And don't forget, we've got this community on here. Many people here who are going through gangstalking. So be sure to subscribe, click all notifications. then you will be notified when I upload more Gangstalking videos, which I will be doing very soon. And yeah, give it a thumbs up. Let's work together to get this message out there. Drop a comment in the comment section. I read your comments every day. And if you would like to book a one-on-one with me, I can coach you directly through navigating the Gangstalking. So just go to my website to book. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And also your donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. You can donate by going to paypal.me/narcsurvivor. I'm also available on Instagram. My Instagram is Narc Survivor YouTube. So, yeah, that's it for this video on Gangstalking. Just know that you are on the right side. There is a higher purpose to this. And we are all with you. So yeah, that's it for this one. And I will talk to you in another live video very soon.